I'm Dave with Playthrough Board Games. Today we're going to be taking a look at Valentine's Day games. Around this time of year, people's thoughts turn to love and spending quality time with that significant other in your life. If you don't have a significant other, just consider this a two-player game video. In any case, the ideal way to spend some quality time with someone, in my opinion, is over the game table. Let's take a look at my criteria for these games, and then we'll launch into the games themselves. I think a good Valentine's Day game has to have the following. It has to be portable, it has to play well with two players, and it has to play in under a half hour. So those are my criteria. Without further ado, let's take a look at Valentine's Day games. First on my list is Love Letter. This is practically an obligatory Valentine's Day game because of the theme. You're trying to smuggle your love letter through to the Princess Annette. In order to do so, you're enlisting the help of other people in the kingdom, such as the maid, king, or the prince, and so on. The game has only 16 cards, so it's a fairly simple game. The powers of each card are printed on the card, so you'll learn them fairly quickly, and whoever wins the round wins a token of affection. Whoever has the most tokens of affection by the end is declared the person who's won the princess's heart. So that's Love Letter. Next up is Star Realms. Star Realms is a little bit more of a warfare-oriented game where you are engaging in a galactic conflict with the other players. Each box lets you play with two players, so for $15 or so, you can have a good bonding experience. The game plays quickly. Basically, you're trying to reduce the other person's galactic influence to zero, and if you do so, you are the winner. There are attack cards, there are purchasing cards, and you can get better and better weapons and more influence in the form of space stations or ships, and that's the game. So that is Star Realms. Next up, we have something a little less warfare-oriented, but still competitive, Builders Middle Ages. Builders Middle Ages is a card game, but also kind of a worker placement game. You're committing workers to building buildings. Whoever builds the most grand buildings or the greatest amount of buildings and scores the most points first, the total of 17 that you need to get to at least with two players, is declared the winner. So the Builders Middle Ages is pretty fun. They have a few unique concepts in that some of the buildings themselves will help you build other buildings. For example, there's a surveying tools or some woodworking shops, that kind of thing, that give you more workers to place for free. So we enjoy the Builders Middle Ages. Next on my list here is a cooperative game. This is Space Hulk Death Angel. This game is a little bit warfare-like, but you're working together in order to rid your ship of an alien menace. So you're an elite team of space marines going in to attack these aliens, get them off the ship, and save the day. You will be controlling squads of these space marines, 2 people each, and the squads have special abilities unique to them. There are 3 types of abilities. There's an attack ability, support ability, and a movement ability, and there's special rules printed on the cards for different squads. Your squad members can die, and the formation will have to shift around in order to accommodate the new formation in the gap that they've left. It's a fun game. It plays pretty quickly. It's a little bit tough and a little bit luck-oriented, but it's still very good if you're looking for a co-op option. So that is Space Hulk Death Angel. There are a few expansions for this as well if you're looking for more of a challenge or a different challenge. So check that out. Next on my list here is another co-op. This is Fanabe. Fanabe has you in the role of a fireworks company, only you're a little bit inept in that you forgot about a major engagement and now you're trying to put it on the fly. This is a bit of a memory game in that other players can see your cards and occasionally tell you what you have in your hand, but you may not look at your cards. The goal is to place cards from different suits in order, so 1 to 5, in order to put on the best fireworks display possible. If you make a mistake, the fuse burns down, and eventually you run out of options, and your fireworks go off however far you've gotten. The fireworks are worth points, so the more you get out in the right order, the better you do. and that's Fanabe. Next on my list here is a game that's competitive again. This is Dungeon Roll. In Dungeon Roll, you're doing a dungeon delve. This actually plays better, in my opinion, with two players than other amounts of players because one player is controlling the dungeon lord and the other player is controlling the adventuring party that's going into the dungeon. This is a press your luck dice rolling game. There's elements of Yahtzee where you're trying to match symbols and get better parties and everything, but also you have a lead adventurer who has special powers that can influence the dice that you roll. It's fun, it plays quick. I feel like it's ideal for two players in that both players will constantly be engaged in either being the dungeon lord or being the adventuring party. So that's Dungeon Roll. Next up, this is probably the game with the biggest footprint here. This is Forbidden Desert. In Forbidden Desert, you are cooperating to survive the desert. There are many challenges that the desert presents. One is a sandstorm that's raging. The other is the lack of water that you may experience from the sun beating down on you. And finally, you just have a timer. If the storm runs out of sand to dump on the board, you lose. If your characters die, you lose. So it's a pretty fun game. The major goal is to flip tiles and find these pieces of a flying machine that will let you escape the desert. Co-op plays quickly. There's different roles, so different people have different powers, and you need to work together to use your powers most effectively. So that is Forbidden Desert. Next on my list is Jaipur. Jaipur is a game that I've covered before, but I wanted to bring it up again briefly as I feel like it's a strong two-player option. This is competitive, and you're competing to be the Maharaja's favorite trader. In order to become the Maharaja's personal trader, you have to perform the best in the marketplace over 3 rounds. So it's the best of three. Whoever scores the most points by selling the most goods to the marketplace for the highest value is declared the winner. So if I have 3 gold and I trade them in, I get 3 gold points tokens, or money if you will, and I get to keep those by me. There's bonuses for trading in more of a kind, and that sort of thing. Next on my list is Fairy Tale. This is a game that is basically a tableau building game. You're setting a bunch of cards in front of you. You are trading cards back and forth and drafting what you think will work best with your tableau of cards. Some cards have negative effects for you. Some cards have negative effects for your opponents, and you have to weigh the risks and benefits of those cards. It's quick, it's fun, it's definitely a different style than most of the other games I've played, so check it out. Next on our list is a game that I really enjoy, Valley of the Kings. Valley of the Kings is a deck building game in which you are trying to stock your tomb. You are an Egyptian noble and you're trying to get the best stuff for the afterlife. Unfortunately, other Egyptian nobles have the same idea, and so you're competing to get these goods into your tomb before other players can. I like this game because even the victory points allow you to do something. When they go into your deck, unlike something like Dominion, for example, they're not just dead weight or taking up space, they actually help you out. In addition to this, cards that go in your tomb are removed from your deck, and so you don't have to worry about cards that you don't like in your deck, and this helps streamline the game and make it a lot faster playing experience. The cards come out at you in a pyramid shape, and so you can take the bottom cards unless you have something that lets you get access to a card higher up, and then the pyramid will collapse down, the other cards will move down, and basically allow you access to cards that are further away in the pyramid from you. So that's Valley of the Kings. I've got 2 more games for you. One is Morals. Morals is a pretty relaxed game. You are on a walk in the woods and harvesting mushrooms. These mushrooms then will be cooked up and you will get points for how many of each type of mushroom you get to cook. There are some mushrooms that there are only 3 of in the deck or so that are worth a ton of points, and there's some mushrooms that there are many, many, many of in the deck that are worth fewer points, but if you cook more of them, you can get bonuses by cooking with apple cider or butter and that sort of thing. So you kind of have to decide on your strategy whether you're going to go for the really choice mushrooms that are worth a lot or for a lot of the less valuable mushrooms that will net you maybe more points in the long run because there's so many of them. So that's morals, and it's pretty fun, pretty quick, and enjoyable. Last on my list here is Hive. This is a game I've also done a video of, albeit one that needs a correction. Nonetheless, it's a fun game. You're trying to use insects to surround an opponent's queen bee and prevent your own from being surrounded. So that's Hive. It has a chess-like feel in that the pieces have different movement styles and different powers. And that's my Valentine's Day list. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you saw something you and your significant other would like to play, and have fun gaming.